Hello, I'm Patricia Robb. I'm welcoming you to American Dreams, American Realities. The course started last Monday, as you know, and it will continue right up until the end of the first week in May. Just a few reminders and perhaps explanations to get you started in the course. I assume that most of you by now have printed out your course syllabus. It's good to have that on hand so that you can use that as a general guideline for what we'll be covering in the course. It covers the order of topics that we'll be looking at week by week. It gives you the dates of the major assignments, and it also gives you the dates of the UMB discussions, which are required by SCE. We'll have 2 of them this semester. You'll need headsets for that, and we'll be talking to one another in real time by audio. You can't see people for these discussions, but you can hear them and respond to them. And I'll have more to say about that when we get closer to the date of our first one. When it comes to specifics about the course, though, in terms of what we're doing each week, you should go by the weekly overviews. And there's a weekly overview that I'll be posting for each week, and it will be in the weekly folders. It gives you the activities that we'll be doing that week. It tells you what specific readings and websites you should take a look at. And for online discussions, the overview will also give you the specific questions that we'll be focusing on. Now, generally, we will be doing online discussions in this course, although occasionally we'll be doing a variety of other types of activities as well. For the online discussions, I've given you some guidelines as to what I'm looking for, and I'm just going to repeat them here. Perhaps a repetition will help to clarify what it is I'm looking for. I'd like you first in the online discussions to answer whatever the initial questions are that I've posted for that week's discussion. I'd also like you on that day or a subsequent day or days to respond to at least 2 other people's comments per discussion thread or question. And I'd like you to participate on at least 2 days out of the discussion cycle, rather than doing all your participation, say, all at one time, one sitting, where you post your replies to the questions and respond to other people at the same time. I'd like you to come back and see what people have written about your comments, read other people's comments again, and pretty much engage in a more kind of ongoing discussion over the discussion cycle. So I'm looking for some, I guess, quantitative criteria here, number of days, number of responses, and so on. But I'm also looking for more qualitative kinds of things. I'm looking for comprehensive and thoughtful questions about the readings and the materials that we're doing, showing that you've done the readings, thought about the readings, showing that you're responding, thinking about what other people have to say as well. And your grade will be based on both these kind of measurable criteria as well as these more qualitative kinds of factors. The discussion cycle will go from Tuesday until Saturday. From Saturday until Tuesday, pretty much all weeks after this first week. I will be posting discussion questions or the other activities by Wednesday before a discussion starts, so you'll have a chance to get started doing the reading and thinking about the questions if you want to, and then the discussion will open on Saturday. For this first week, knowing that we would be adding people to the course all the way through the first week, knowing that it might take you a little while to find the textbook and the other readings, and knowing that there's just generally a lot of problems getting going with online courses, I've extended this discussion much longer than I will ordinarily, since it started last Monday and continues right up until next Tuesday, or 2 days from now, Tuesday the 9th. Once you've gotten started on the discussions, I think you're going to find that the requirements are going to be much easier to meet than they may seem when you've got all of these lists of things you're supposed to be doing for them. The most time-consuming thing with discussions, I think, is doing the reading in the first place and preparing your initial answers to the discussion questions. After that, if you do that on one day and you come back on another day or subsequent days, you can read through the comments that have been listed by other people, posted by other people, think about which ones seem interesting to you that you want to reply to, and go ahead and post your replies all within 20 minutes to 30 minutes at most. So I think that if you come back later on, you're going to find that that part of the discussion is going to be much easier, and you can increase your grade by coming back on more frequently and posting more comments, presuming, of course, you're showing that they're thoughtful at the same time. In terms of the books, you do need to get the Boyer's Enduring Vision, Volume 1, Concise Edition. And I'm using the concise edition rather than the full-length edition, because I think the concise edition is fine for our purposes. Boyer and the other authors of the book have really in very succinctly laid out the main points that we need to know for each of the topics that we're going to cover. And they've done so in a few enough pages that I think it still leaves you time to take a look at some really interesting websites and other materials that are available on this period that we're covering. And also, since this is an American Studies course, I wanted to include a few short stories, some artwork, some photographs, and other types of materials along with the history book. The other two books that you'll be reading are Black Hawk's autobiography, and he's one of the few Native Americans that we've got pretty much a first-hand account of his life, which I think makes this particularly interesting. And the other book is the narrative of Frederick Douglass, and if you haven't read it, I'm sure you've heard of it before, because Frederick Douglass is a very famous African-American slave from the 19th century who not only is able to free himself, but goes on to have really a quite illustrious career in a whole series of different areas. I have mentioned before, I think online, that the open forum is a useful way to contact other people if you're having questions or problems about the course. And it's quite frequently more efficient to contact some people directly in the open forum than to email me, because anybody in the course quite frequently can answer a question that you may have and may do so more quickly than I will. And also, if you've got a question, there's a good chance somebody else has the same question. So if you're posting it online in the open forum, everybody can see the answer, and it may help other people out. That's not to say that you're not welcome to contact me directly if you feel that you need to. I'm always willing to answer your questions, generally within a 24-hour time frame. You can also use the open forum if you find any news articles or other interesting materials having to do with topics that we're covering in this course and that you want to share with others in the course. So I think that's all for now. I'll see you online, and I'm going to look forward to working with you this semester.